So good old Bill Trinen sat down with IGN at Comic-Con 2018 and answered two key questions I think many people have been wondering about. And one of them was if Super Smash Bros. Ultimate would have a pre-launch tournament in the style of maybe the ARMS Global Test Punch, Mario Tennis Aces, or even what Splatoon has done in the past. And here is what Bill Trinen had to say on that front. Very good question. Right now, they're focused very much on getting the game ready. We have a few other things to talk about down the road between now and when it launches in December. We'll hopefully have some news on that as we get closer to launch. Essentially, yeah, we might do it, but we don't know yet. We'll see what happens. Now, the next question was even more interesting, or I should say, is at least shining some light, I guess, on what DLC or the lack thereof might happen, or could look like with Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. Here's what Bill Trinen had to say on DLC for Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. Obviously, that was a big part of the Wii U game, but part of Mr. Sakurai's approach is really focusing on getting the game done. And once he has the game done, he'll start to make some decisions about what he wants to do with other characters or DLC, things like that. Whether or not he decides to do DLC again, or whether or not he decides this is the Ultimate Edition and there's nothing more I can fit in there. We'll have to see as we get closer to launch. In other words, this game might not have DLC, or it might have DLC. Obviously, the DLC was massively successful from a financial standpoint, and obviously in terms of pleasing fans on Wii U and 3DS, but that doesn't necessarily mean they're going to do that again. Again, this is called Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, and the name alone might feel weird with DLC connected to it, because you'll buy Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, but it wouldn't really be the Ultimate Edition when you buy it at retail if you still had to buy additional characters, right? I think that's the argument, or at least the insinuation that Bill Trinen is saying, is that Sakurai might just look at this as, no, what we launch with is it. That is it. This is the Ultimate Edition. If we add stuff on top of that, it ends up not feeling like the name represents the actual game, because you'd have to spend extra money on top to get everything. So I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. What is interesting is that it's obviously clear that Sakurai has not committed to or even really thought about the idea of DLC in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate at this point. The game is still massively in development, so it can land on time this December. All I know is I'm pretty excited for Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. The idea of having all the characters that have ever been in a game all in one is fantastic. Daisy and Ridley and, sadly not Waluigi thrown in there. I know a lot of Waluigi fans want that to happen, but I'm pretty excited for Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. It is the only fighting game I really care about. I'm not a big fighting game fan. I have dabbled in a number of them over the years. Probably the only other one besides Super Smash Bros. That I got really deep into was Primal Rage back in the day. But I do find these remarks just interesting from my perspective as someone who's more of a casual Smash player, and that is that I actually don't want DLC. You guys remember some of my complaints about the way that DLC was handled on Wii U and 3DS. Not in so much that they were offering DLC, but that everything was available individually and then packaged together in various different packages, and ultimately to even have a complete version of just the Wii U version, let alone if you had the Wii U and 3DS version, you had to spend, almost $200. It's just crazy to me that they did that, and fans were excited about it and were okay with it. I understand, of course, this is how all fighting games do it. They nickel and dime you with the individual characters, the individual stages, blah, 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 blah. I get that this is how the fighting genre works, but Smash isn't like any other fighting game on the market, well, besides Brawlout, the indie game that was inspired by Smash. But generally, Smash stands in its own kind of tier. I guess PlayStation All-Stars, but again, inspired by Smash. So Smash is like its own style of fighting game in comparison to all the other ones out there, and I was really hoping it would take a stand and do something different. Maybe even if they are going to do DLC, this is just a personal wish. I understand if you guys aren't into this. I would prefer them to go more of the Breath of the Wild Season Pass route. The Mario Kart 8 back on Wii U, Season Pass route. Hyrule Warriors, Season Pass route, where you spend $20 and you just get all future DLC. not only is that cheaper for consumers and thus more pro-consumer, it also gets people to buy in without knowing what that DLC is going to be, so potentially making more money, and people who maybe would not have bought the extra DLC because maybe they don't care about those characters or stages being added. So you get a potential revenue boost from that, from people just buying into the idea that, oh, it's just $20. And again, for those that are interested in all that content and interested in having a complete video game, an extra $20 on top, you can easily argue that Super Smash Bros. Ultimate might be worth $80 in total. I don't know. That's just me. That's the model I think is most pro-consumer and less shady. I know that a lot of you out there, we talked about this when I made that big kerfuffle about potentially having Nintendo going the route of EA, and I know Reggie made comments this year about defending loot boxes and how Nintendo plans to use loot boxes, and we're not going to dive too far down that rabbit hole on this one, but Smash Bros, if they are going to do DLC, I would like to see them explore other methods of delivering that DLC versus just copy-pasting what they did last time and what every other fighting game does. I would like to see Nintendo do it better. I think that is something that I don't think that's too much to ask, is it? That Nintendo just do the DLC better if you're going to do it at all. I would prefer there not to be DLC in the case of just the title of this game being Ultimate, but I understand. There's probably going to be DLC. It makes too much money. I just hope that they do DLC in a better way, a more pro-consumer way. Most of you guys aren't going to care. You're going to think it was fine last time. I get that. This is just my thoughts. I'm very curious to hear your thoughts on potential Smash Ultimate DLC and how you would like to see it handled down in the comments below. Or would you like to just not have it at all because the name of the game does say Ultimate, and I do understand where Bill Trinen's coming from, where it does feel a little strange to have DLC on a game that says Ultimate in the title if you buy it and you don't really have the Ultimate edition of the game, because you have to buy extra stuff. Like, I kind of get the two sides of the argument there. I gave you my thoughts. I'm very curious to hear yours. Anyways, folks, I'm Nathaniel Rufflejans from Nintendo Prime, and if you like this video, you know what to do, and if you dislike the video, hit that dislike button, subscribe for more content, and I'll catch you in the next one.